Chasers Podcast. Coming to you live and direct with your host and your moderator, Kevin L. Warren. This is a real sports podcast for real fans.
No moderator, it's me. Hey, well, good morning, everybody. It's the Sports Chasers Podcast. We live and direct this morning. Hey, man, we're gonna have to do a whole, how you say, compress fourth. It's gonna be 4th and 25 this morning. So no 4th and short, 4th and 25, and we're gonna do this thing here. And we're gonna rock with, hey, my main man, Dan the Hockey Dude. What's up, brother? How you feeling?
What's going on, D-Dubbz? Good to be here. Ready to get into this.
Ready to get in. And we got my man, the DA, and the DA is where we at now. We have some technical issues here. There you go. There you go. Computer got to warm up. But he's in the building, so we're gonna get him later. But yo, first off, we're gonna get into this. Hey, college football, it came out the 4 teams that's going to go to the championship round is come out, and we got Michigan, Washington, Alabama, and Texas. So damn, let me ask you a question. Did the committee get it right?
That's really going to depend on who you ask. There's a ton of opinions on this. We were kind of, shooting the crap, here beforehand, and then texting, as these games were going on the other day. And to me, it's, I don't know, man. I knew if Bama beat Georgia, they were getting in. And that meant somebody was not. And, if you look at it, FSU, they did what they were asked to do. They won the games they're supposed to win. They won out. They ran the table. They won the championship. And then you tell them they're not good enough. And that's the first time the Power 5, undefeated, didn't make the playoff.
Right.
So, what's that tell the kids? Regular season doesn't matter. Conference championship doesn't matter. It depends on who your quarterback is.
And
that's it.
That's what it is. But I'm not mad. Listen, I think they got it right. I think that, these are other than, because then I can really say Georgia needs to be in the mix. I mean, if we want to talk about best teams, Georgia should be in the mix. They lost 1 game to Alabama in the championship round and for the SEC.
And look at the competition in the championship games.
Correct.
Look who Georgia and Alabama played each other. That's like a national title game right there.
Facts.
And then
it felt like one.
Yeah. Then
it felt like one Saturday night.
In Washington, they played Oregon, who they beat earlier in the year, but still that was a close game. And number 3 versus number 5, and but then you look at Florida State. They played the 14th ranked team in the country for their championship. Texas, they played the 18th team in Oklahoma State in their championship. So, if you want to, go by, like the whole thing is they say, we want the best teams in college football. And guess what? Some of these teams play in way better divisions and conferences than others. So, Ohio State 1 loss. They're out. Why? They lost to Michigan. Michigan went undefeated. Does that mean Ohio State's the 6th ranked team in the country? Shouldn't be. Because they play better competition. Same with Georgia and Alabama. They play in a way better. That's probably like the NFL of college football. And
right.
Then
it's the NFL G League.
Yeah, pretty much. And to say that Georgia doesn't deserve to be there because they lost to Alabama, okay. But then, like I said, look at Texas, look at Florida State.
I could argue that. They got Georgia at number 6. Georgia, there's no way in the world that Georgia should be. They should be 5.
They lost by 3 points,
and you got them. Yeah, so they drop out from 1 to all the way to 6.
to a team that needed a Hail Mary from 4th and 31 even to have a shot to get there.
That's all I'm saying. What I'm saying is, let me tell you, yesterday when it came out, selection, and I'm looking, and I did not see the strength of schedule. Florida State had the 55th ranked strength of schedule compared to
Alabama.
5 Alabama, and everybody else. I think Washington had the 11th hardest strength of schedule, I should say, right? So that was my factor in. After I seen that, I was like, oh no, yeah, Florida State got to sit. They might. I'm sorry, man. Yes, you 13-0. You did do your job. And I know that, but at the end of the day, this is a business, and we talked about this. This is sports and it's entertainment. And now somebody, I think Stephen A's talked about, they don't want to see the same thing from what happened to TCU, and I get it, but we can't go by that. You know what I'm saying? Because that was one game, but I understand that these people that run the show, they don't want to have another game like that. That's just, to be honest with you. They know that, and
that's why Boise got left out.
So a lot of teams that get left out. This is not the first.
Teams that ran the table that should have been given the opportunity, but the almighty dollar makes the world go round.
Absolutely.
And that's what I'm saying. Like this, every year when it comes, because I forget if it was last year or the year before, there's probably 2-3 years ago, that they put in Ohio State instead of somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a big uproar. And I can't even.
This happens every year.
Yeah. And here's my thing. I think the way that I saw this is they're going to go to 12 team next year.
You correct, right?
So you got your 4 top teams. They get the bye.
Mm-hmm.
So that you'd be Michigan, Washington, Texas, Alabama, and then you would have 5 through 12 play each other. So this year, the way this thing is ended by the playoff rankings, FSU would be playing Oklahoma, Georgia would play Ole Miss, Ohio State would play Penn State, and then Oregon would play Missouri.
So what? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dan.
My thing would be is, they play those games out,
right?
And then they, depending on if there's upsets or not, then they reshuffle the seeds. So FSU and Oklahoma play. Say Oklahoma wins, well, they're the 12th seed. Well, Michigan, since they were the top team in the country, should get to play the highest seed, the 12th seed. And so forth. And they just need to, depending on the outcomes, rearrange that and play it out that way. But at the end of the day, even though you go to 12 teams, you're probably going to still have this same shit happen to a team or two.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to give it the elevated status that it is where you go undefeated. Because if that's the case, you should be in the top 12.
I'm going to give it to DA. DA is the Florida State fans. I said, hey, stop crying.
Look, the reality is this, man. It's not fair. It was what was going to happen to somebody, and it was most likely you, because you, like I said, you were the undefeated team that no one talked about all year, right? No one really gave them, talked about them as a set, and this is where we're at now. So, Wells, forgive me because I'm gonna say it. They weren't the sexy pick for folks that were casual fans and don't really know football like that, where I was telling folks that they were an ACC team, kind of like in the Clemson tradition of being built like an SEC team. And I thought that had Georgia made it and had they made it, somehow, end of the day, it would have been those two schools playing, because those two schools have those dogs on them that I've watched over the course of this season. Now, the reality is that Alabama may come in there and just feed on whatever's left right now. And Michigan got some dogs, but they don't have dogs. Like
they don't have that dog. Those dogs over there.
It's because of the conference in which they play, and they play a different kind of style of football. At least it seems that way to me, at least over the last few years, right? So again, I'm not an SEC homer because I'm from New York City. I'm not, I don't really have a dog in the fight. we don't really have college football teams up there that we
but
are into like that. But
objectively speaking, though, right?
objectively speaking, over the last few years, whenever, unless it's Clemson, and you got like Deshaun Watson there, or what's the dude that's there now? I know at Jaguars right now.
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence, and I don't think he beat Alabama, but I didn't see anybody else beat the SEC team except for now. C.J. Stroud almost did last year, and that was basically on his arm. And they had great receivers, and they almost got Georgia in that heck of a game last year. But the reality is, I've watched for so many years that other teams come in there, and then the SEC smacks them, and not just smacks them in a way that makes it look like they didn't belong there. Yeah,
they had no business being there. Yes,
Texas, like it was like, yo, I was expecting good games.
Yeah,
and they were not. And when you're talking about physically manhandled, it's a difference, man. It's just a real difference. So,
do you have a problem? Let me ask you a question. Do you have a problem with Georgia being ranked 6 instead of or 5, or do you have a problem Georgia not even being in it? Period.
Because they should be 5. They should be 5, and no one wants to play them. A mad Georgia team you don't want to play, they should be 5. They were the number 1 ranked team for 29 weeks. They lost a close game to another good team. You can't drop them. You can't drop them at the top 10.
But are they still one of the best 4 teams in the country?
Yes.
Yeah.
So would you drop out Texas or Michigan?
I probably would have dropped out Texas.
Fair enough.
So, but I say that to say this because we've seen, I think twice, right, in the last few years. I think it was Georgia and Alabama both were in there, and then they dropped out a Pac-10 team and somebody else, right? And that, I mean, it's just what happened, and it ended up being with it being Georgia versus Alabama for the championship. The first year was the year where Tua came in and they won the championship, and then the next year it was the year where Jalen Hurts came back in, and they came back in. And they won. So it's if you're what I think we need to separate is that this thing is not about the 4 best teams. This is about money and the 4 best quote unquote games with the biggest fan bases to get the most eyes on ABC for that whatever bowl or Fox for whatever bowl. When your boy on Fox is screaming, here we go! What's the dude that does the call on Fox?
Oh, he's annoying as hell. I don't know what it. He is absolutely the Jack Edwards.
Yes, they love him, and the reality is that it's not about the 4 best teams. It's about the 4 best games, and this is why, folks. And I'm saying it now, so when it happens. And I'll shut up after this, and it will happen because it's the only thing that makes sense. Well, that means it probably won't happen then. But you got to put it back in the computer's hands. You do. And then you have a committee at the end of 4 people that everybody knows who these 4 folks are. And if they make a vote that changes anything or really is askew of what the computer had, then they have to be able to explain why they said that or why they made that decision. But it has to be, this is too much. These kids' lives, what they're doing. Dude, they look better in the beginning of the year, but not the end of the year, but they won the end of the year. I don't want to hear none of that. That's stupid. That's stupid. Just put a criterion on each item. It's like in hockey, allow points for each thing. For wins, you get points. For wins against top 25 teams, you get more points. For wins in a great conference where the conference has at the end of the year. Because this is what they used to do, folks. So I'm not saying anything new.
You ain't reinventing the wheel.
Okay. Yeah. So in years when your conference had 5 teams at the end of the year that were in the top 25, and that's your conference gets a boost, and then you got your offensive scores, your defensive scores. It was never this quarterback's not playing, not even it was a team game. And we add it there and we keep it right there. That's it. Nothing else. Nothing else. So That's all I'm saying.
Hey, well, D, speaking of you brought out a point about the kids. We love the kids. We love the kids. Do they care about the kids? And does
No,
FSU have something to say about that? The kids, 13 and 0, they did what they were supposed to do. What do you say about the strength of schedule?
That's strength of schedule. Sorry, strength of
SOS.
schedule is going to change when we get these super conferences, because you will no longer have the luxury of scheduling directional any school. Northwest Charlotte College. You're not going to be able to play them because it's going to hurt you, right? Because there's going to be a school that steps out on faith in one of these Power 5 conferences, and I'm not doing my finger hurts, so I'm not doing the air quotes. But there's going to be a school that steps out on faith and is like, yo, we're just going to take hard games and see how it works for us. And if we get our asses beat, then we get our asses beat. But we're just gonna take 12 hard games and see what happens. That's all. And then if that team that takes the 12 hard games, the computer or the committee bigs you up because you did that and you get in there because you took 12 hard games and you lost 2, but you didn't play Northwest Alabama and Southwest Kentucky, then yeah, other teams are going to start doing that because they're going to say, oh, okay, this is what means more. This is what it means more. It's for everyone to to take hard games, and you taking games against schools that aren't at your level, don't have the same type of players you have, all that stuff there is not going to work in the years going forward. But I do believe that, I believe I'm with you, Wells. I don't think what was done at Florida State was fair, but I knew it was going to happen. So,
well, there you go. Hey, man, that's the 4. That's the 4 teams, and what we got? What is it? January 1st is is that the?
Yep. And they were the least. I think, like I said before, they were the least sexy team for those that that are not straight up and down football fans. Like people say, oh, I don't even know who plays for them. They Florida State. I can say, man, that defense dogs. They would have the best defense coming into this playoff right now. And if you don't think a defense can win a championship, I'll take you back to A.J. McCarron in those days when Alabama was doing it. I'm telling you, that defense could have won a chip, guaranteed. That's what I see.
I don't know. I just feel like FSU got the short end of the stick on that. One, the conference they play in was really weak this year. Clemson wasn't good. They beat Louisville first game of the year, or LSU. They were number 5 in the country. And then after that, they played Duke, who was 16th. And then the championship game, they played Louisville, who was 14th. Other than that, they didn't play anybody ranked.
So
I get it. They ran the table, but they didn't play the competition that some of these other conferences played. Look at the Pac-12. At one point, they had like 6 teams ranked in the top 25. A much harder conference than the ACC. And, Washington got through it. So I think that's why they got the nod, because their strength of schedule was a lot higher. And I get it. I feel bad for the kids. I really do. And I'm always the one that's, pushing for these underdogs. In Florida State, I don't consider an underdog, but they went undefeated, just like I was on, TCU last year, University of Central Florida, when they ran the gamut. Hell, Liberty's undefeated. They're not even in the top 20. Granted, different conference, different style of football. But at the end of the day, what does the regular season mean? What does your conference championship mean?
Well, that's why, like I said, man, that's why it
doesn't mean shit.
That's what
you just said.
Yeah, they're going to build it to what it needs to be. And you're right, Dan. I think the weirdest thing about it on the college football strength is that, as you look at this going forward, it's going to, what you can see and what you can understand is that there will be change. There will be change. And there's really, and I'm not really opposed to that change because this is BS right now. But it's funny. This is like that thing you tell your kids, don't do something, because this is the way you had it back in the day, and then you change it, and then you go back to what it was, right? So that's what we're going to do here, because it's the only thing that made sense. To put this thing in the people's hands, your committee of whoever, stop it. What committee do you ever know to come out with anything that makes any fucking sense?
Yeah. And that's what I said. People are flawed, man. So, I think the best thing is to go back to how it was with the
BCS, man.
Yeah,
with the computer, and let and put a matrix in it and let the computer pick how it used to be. And I remember back in the day, people was upset about the computer, right? I was one of them. I admit it, but the computer's stupid. We need to let people pick, and then people get it wrong. Yeah. As I got older, people get it wrong, and I think if you put the best matrix in it and let the computer decide, I think we should have a better outcome and the teams that's supposed to be there. And even going back to what you were saying about the points, and we talked about this earlier about having points like hockey. That way, if you check off and you get the points, you check off the list, you get the points.
I live in a world of information even being quantitative or qualitative. I like quantitative because I know exactly what it is, right? 1 + 1 = 2. Or you could be crazy like me and say 1 + 1 = 3. But whatever it is, whatever the criteria is, it is, right? So
funny math.
Yeah, and that's what it is, right? But to have no criteria out there makes no sense, right?
Well, they have criteria, but they don't follow it.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, exactly. You're right.
That's what I'm with you. Computerize this shit, and because guess what?
And just let it rip.
What computers don't have? Bias.
Yep.
And they calculate. That's it.
And
bias. Who's my favorite? Give me 5 on the black hand side. All that. Yeah, that's exactly right.
You can go and run a report, and everyone can see the what and the why. So even back in the days when we didn't like what came out of it at the end, the NCAA they could just send a report out and say, "Look, this was the way the computer, they had this. This is their RPI. This is this. This is that. This is that. This is that. And this is why we got LSU, playing against Miami in the national championship, right?" And you're like, "Okay, yeah, okay." Because remember, the greatest bowl game that we've had ever was USC and Texas, and the computer drew that up. That wasn't a vote. There wasn't a committee. That was back when it was just 1 against 2, and that was the end of it. We didn't have a fork thing there, a money grab for these damn bowl games that they got now, right? But as you guys were saying, I think Dan brought it up. I was kind of stuck. The NCAA, if they're smart, they make a lot of money, not just on 1 through 4, but on 5 through 10. If you put them in games that mean something, then you're good. But the problem is that a lot of these schools, depending on if they're senior laden or not, if they're not in the last 4 bowl games, dude's like, I'm not playing. I'm going to Arizona to start working out for next year. So
case in point, was it McCord for Ohio State? He's going in the portal. He's leaving. He's not playing in the bowl game.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, well, it's true. I remember the year when Christian McCaffrey, what's the dude that went to Tampa Bay, the running back?
Yeah, they said it wasn't playing.
I'm not playing. I'm going to work out, man.
I'm not going
Julius
to the
Peppers.
I'm going.
No, what's his name? Peppers from Jersey. Like,
NFL is calling me.
I'm going to work out for my draft.
Yeah.
I'm not going to play this because the bowl game doesn't mean anything.
Didn't mean nothing. Right.
This is up to who? It's up to the NCAA to make it mean something. You can't make it up to the kids to make it mean something because it's not. Because the NFL and the NCAA are in 2 diametrically different ideas. A college coach will tell you every time, my job is not here to make you better for the NFL. My job is to have you better here to win now. You know, Stamen will use a kid up. He used Trent Richardson up. Time Trent got to the NFL, he couldn't do nothing. They don't care. They will run this cat 1,000,000 times a game, 1,000 times a game. We'll bring in the kid like the kid they had in Nebraska that went to jail for killing dudes, or your dude in Miami in Florida, that Gonzalez. What's his name? I'm sorry, the tight end.
Yeah, I know who you're talking. Hernandez.
You know, it doesn't matter. Everybody got their gig.
Oh, you said Nebraska. I can't think of this guy's
Phillips,
name.
wasn't it?
Yeah,
Phillips. Yes, Phillips.
Why do I know all these names?
I don't know. Dan. I was going to ask you that after the show. Right?
Phillips.
Like what kind of morbid list are you?
Lawrence Phillips. Yes, Lawrence Phillips.
Yeah. And don't think for a second he wasn't brought into that school and MFs knew the type of dude he was. Just like we saw this year in Nebraska, and I hate to say it again, with Matt Rule, he brought in the cat that as soon as he got there, he was stealing stuff and did that, and they had to throw him out. You know who these kids are, man. Stop playing. All right. So the college coaches are not necessarily trying to make good NFL players. They're trying to win games now. If they could come up with a better relationship, I think all this, you know, maybe becomes a better situation for both. But it seems to me those are the biggest gangs that are fighting each other in the NFL and the NCAA. At least as far as football is concerned, because the NFL doesn't care. They'll get a kid from anywhere. So even that directional school, Northwest, blah, 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 if you're serious, they will invite you in to play. You know, that's how you got Antonio Brown and, you know, and you know, a lot of dudes. You didn't have to go to big school. And there's probably more small school dudes in the NFL now than big school dudes. So probably because they're cheaper, but you know.
Well, hey, that's all I got for this college football. It was definitely a great season. A lot of interesting
a lot of stories,
talking points. A lot of stories this year with the Dion thing. You know, there's a lot of teams. Oregon, Washington was a pretty good story, man. Washington getting in. So I think it's a lot of interesting stories this year in the world of college football, and with more to come. But yo, we're about to get into our NFL portion of the segment here in Fourth and Short, which will be Fourth and Long, Fourth and 25 right now. But hey, yo, I want to show some love to them San Francisco 49ers, man. They came out strong.
That ball right there.
Gave Philadelphia that.
Still got it.
Yes.
Still got it, man.
Gave Philadelphia that work.
Yeah, you know, that's what we do.
42-19. You know,
we keep it quiet till we get on the field. Now, we actually was talking a bunch of shit this week. We wore black to the game. I thought that was bad.
Yeah,
it reminded me of when the Texans wore all those jackets in the New England and got beat by 8,000 points. So I was like, oh God, let's not. But I think the parts of this we knew their secondary really isn't that good on the inside. I mean, the safeties, and we took advantage of it. We never got off of running the ball. We kept running the ball, and when we knew we needed it, I guess it was the same thing as like a tush push. We just ran behind Trent. Oh my God! Do you see this shit?
I'm on it today, kid. I'm on it.
Kiss of death.
Oh yeah,
kiss of death. But you know, we ran behind Trent. You know, whenever we needed 2 or 3 yards. So we did that, and you know, we just this year we wanted to show them that we could bully the bullies. Now, I don't know if we can beat them 7 games in a row like this or whatever. Because I still think that Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback.
By far. So, I mean, come on. I mean, Brock Purdy's he's doing a good job in the system.
I think we did well, but you know, we took advantage of number 39 because we threw the ball to Jennings more than we had ever thrown it to Jennings this year. So, because we knew we had a matchup problem with Jennings, and then we had a lot of crossers with Debo, and Debo is faster than what cats think. So, We got the weapons, and we played solid defense, not great defense, solid defense. But we kept after them. You know, Bosa, the cat from what's the other dude? He had long hair guy.
Who
Kittle?
for you?
No, not on the defensive
Oh,
On the
line.
defense?
My defense. Golly.
Who, Warner?
No, or not one of the defense end. We just got him from Washington.
Chase Young.
Trace.
Oh, Chase Young.
And my
Chase Young.
man Randy Weedbag Gregory was getting after the quarterback.
Randy, he sure was.
And,
yes, he was.
You know, I felt really good about what we did. And you know, the two teams in our division that we had to beat, we beat convincingly. So, you know, whatever it means, it means. It probably doesn't mean more than anything past last night. Because when the playoffs start, it's going to be different. Now, but if we can get that first seed or get a bye, which I think only one team gets a bye, that would be great. But I still don't think we'll get one. So we put ourselves in this position. That's
You need San Francisco. I mean,
Philly.
you need the Cowboys to do their job next week because the Cowboys got Philadelphia. So
they're not.
And the Cowboys seem to only be able to beat up on the teams that are
Under 500. So
yes, inferior to them. So you know that's the problem with the Cowboys. But we'll see on Sunday. But you know, this was definitely a good game with San Francisco. San Francisco, what's my man? Well, I call him CBD, Christian McCaffrey, Brock Purdy, and Debo Samuels. Man, I mean, Brock threw four touchdowns yesterday.
Yeah.
He had a great game within the system. So you know, no, I'm not going to put him up there as saying he's the best quarterback. And you know, I hear guys talking like crazy. He's a great quarterback in the system, and he's doing his job. And 19 of 27, 314 yards, 4 TDs. He definitely did his job yesterday. No picks. He didn't make no mistakes. He gave the ball to McCaffrey. McCaffrey, 17 carries, 93 yards, 1 touchdown. Debo went off, 4 receptions, 116 yards, 2 TDs. I mean, what more can you say? They besides that little dust up on the sidelines there with the
Big Dom. Don't play with Big Dom. Hey,
don't play with Big Dom.
What do you? Hey, keep your hands off my guy, all right?
That's and the player hit him in the face. Well, I was like,
he was
wow.
Actually pointing past him, and it just hit him in the face. That's
so happened. That's the excuse. Yeah. Okay, we'll go with that.
Dan is the officer, so he can let me know from his perspective. Does that look like he was really trying to punch that man, or was he?
I don't think he was punching him. He just trying to get in his mush. Just give him a little hockey goalie or hockey glove in the face.
There you go. See.
Hey.
Not big. Nothing big.
Yeah. So what else we
being sent out from Goodell though? There will be some envelopes.
Oh yeah, they're going to be holding something. They will be holding something. Believe that.
FedExes will be getting sent today. So yeah.
But this was an overall dominating game by the San Francisco 49ers, and I think they had to put that type of performance out there to let them know because they was hurt when they got into that championship game. That wasn't the team that was supposed to play, and I think a message was sent. I think Philadelphia got it. They definitely got the message. And they're gonna have to, believe me, these two teams probably most likely, if I was a betting man, will meet up in the championship game this year. Yeah. So Jalen Hurts, 26 of 45, 298, 1 TD. Marcus Mariota had to come in for a brief bit because Jalen concussion protocol, I believe. So he was out for a couple plays and came back. AJ Brown did AJ Brown things. Man, it's amazing that Tennessee let this guy get away. But 8 receptions, 114 yards, no TDs, but he targeted 13 times. So, Dan, what you got? You got anything for us?
Nah, I mean, I think San Francisco wanted to put the notice that, hey, you won last year because we didn't have a quarterback. We are a lot better team, and I think they came out to prove something. They had a chip on their shoulder. And to be honest, Philly hasn't been that great on offense all year. Like, they're winning, they're getting by, but they just don't seem like they've consistently put good drives together.
Right.
They struggle, penalties or whatever, and they're going to need to get it right because they got Dallas next, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who the other. They got a couple of tough games in a row here.
Well, they're coming to the end of their gauntlet, but it's been a hell of a gauntlet, right? So they beat Kansas City, Buffalo. They lost their Niners, and if they beat Dallas, they come out of it, 3-1, which is probably not bad. I mean, considering the teams that they are playing. But you're right, Dan. They're not. It's weird. The team last year was a far better team than the team this year, from the defense's perspective, and the offense worked better last year, I guess. But like every other team, when you're good, you lose two coordinators, and people think that's not supposed to impact your team, but it does. And you lost your offensive and defensive coordinator, so that's going to change the way things run out there.
Oh, most definitely. But this game definitely was the game of the day yesterday. But we're gonna move on to the Texans, and because let me back up a little bit, because last week, I mean yesterday it was only a few handful of games that I thought is worth mentioning, and this one right here, the Texans and the Broncos. Broncos was on a what was it, 4 game, 5 game,
4 or 5 game
winning
streak. Yeah, Russell was cooking.
And he was cooking, and I picked them
hamburgers and French fries.
I picked them to win, but they almost it was close. They was driving, and my main man Jimmy Ward got that game saving interception in the end zone.
X-Niner.
And X-Niner Jimmy Ward, and sealed the deal for the Texans to pull out a 22-17 win in Houston. Another guy, Nico Collins, man, 9 carries, 9 receptions. I keep on saying 9 receptions, 191 yards, and 1 TD, man. He went off. CJ Stroud, what can you say? 16 of 27, 274. The kid is playing. He's playing well, and D'Amico Ryans got this team 7-5, man, and they are in the hunt for the wild card, and with several teams losing yesterday. The Browns losing, Steelers lost. All those teams 7-5. It is tight. It's getting tight down the stretch here. Dan, anything with your Denver Broncos and Houston Texans?
Well, seeing as lightning struck in Pittsburgh, and they switched my game over to this one while they had to delay at halftime, I got to watch a little bit of this. And kind of the thing with Texas, they had opportunities to get in the end zone and settled for field goals. Yeah. And that almost bit them in the ass because they were up 16-3 at one point, and then Denver came back in the second half. But, man, what can you say? Like, they got a nice team. And Stroud is, for a rookie, he doesn't seem out of place.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, we're looking at some of these other guys that are starting around the league that are struggling mighty, getting benched, this, that, and the other. And they figured out a way to run this offense through him and make him comfortable. And I think how many years did he play at Ohio State? Like 2 or 3?
2.
Yeah,
2, but he didn't start because it was a carousel. So you only got 1 year to shine. Yeah, so he played 1 year after dude that's after Fields left. He played a year, and then he went to the pro.
But it seems like he's mature and can handle the pressure. And what could you say? Like you said, Collins went off, but Russell, same old story. He had a couple of good weeks in a row, 15 of 26, 186, a touchdown, and the killer 3 interceptions.
Oh boy, yep.
I mean, that's the thing is what Stroud's doing. It's even impressive is he's not turning the ball over either. And in this league, if you don't turn the ball over, you usually have a chance to win.
Boy, don't throw it to the other team. That's all.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, I got to watch a good 10, 15 minutes of this, a half hour while I was waiting for lightning to stop. And it was a good game. I enjoyed watching. I'm not a big Broncos fan, and I'm kind of intrigued with this Texans team just because I watched them beat the Steelers, and I think they could possibly it depends on what the Jags do. They got a shot at either getting the division or getting in.
Both of those teams are good, though. I mean,
Oh yeah,
that division only having two teams, and because listen, I honest with you, Dan, I do not have any faith in the Colts to get it right. None at all.
Hey, they keep winning though. They winning.
They've had every opportunity to get. I mean, but get it right at a high level, like to get back to where they were.
I got you.
Because they're like the Friday movie, right? Like they always got one thing and not the other. So they got bread and no hamburgers and no
peanut butter, no jelly,
butter, no jelly, Kool-Aid with no water. Like it's always there because remember the year they got after they got Old Man River. They got the offensive line. Then the offensive line gets hurt, and then they got Old Man River. And then Old Man River gets hurt. And the offensive line is good. Then they ain't got no running back.
Always seem to be missing something.
Something out there, And I'm not sure why, but I'll tell you this much: we got to start figuring out. We got to figure out who the OC is out there in Texas because that dude is working with C.J. Stroud in such a way from a rookie quarterback that he's making everything easy for him. And I'm not saying that kid can't play because he can play, but I'm just saying everything seems to be extremely easy for that dude, and right now it doesn't seem like he's having any problems picking up anything. And contrary to what everyone says, idiots on TV, stop listening to those folks on TV, folks, please. All right. They say, you need a defensive. Don't get a defensive head coach because he can't work with a good quarterback. No, stupid ass. That's what you're supposed to have because it always works. Because you know what the defensive coach does? He leaves the offensive side alone. And he lets you do what you do. He says, you play with your own little play set over there. I'm going to get my defense together. So that's what D'Amico Ryans does. D'Amico Ryans works on his defense to make sure they're right. And whatever they're doing on offense is usually probably a surprise to him. Even on game day, he's probably like, whoa, who is that? He's on our team? He probably even know who the hell's on the team, on the offensive side until after the game. He's like, oh, yeah, that kid there is good. Who drafted him? Who? He's good. Because D'Amico is caring about the defense. And that worked with Ryan back in the days with, the Bears and with Philly. He does this thing. He'll let Ditka and you deal with the offense, and I'll do my part over here, and that's it. That's the way it's supposed to be. You don't need coaches trying to do it all, and it works, man. It works, and Peyton wants to do it all. He wants to be the offensive coach and the defensive coach, and there's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes if you can just specialize in some things, especially with younger players, and let them see that they're getting the attention of the staff. And you are a priority to this part of the staff wholly, it seems to work out. And to me, it seems like that's what Stroud's getting, a young kid from college. As most kids do, they need attention. And he makes sure that they have it. And he's not there to take away from it. He's just there to make sure his defense is right. So I think they're going to be fine. And that's the same thing they're doing out there with the Jags. So we'll see. It's going to be different. It's going to be different.
Most definitely. Well, next game we got up. Hey, I thought I picked this team, and they came out, man. They surprised me, though, because, still the Chiefs are still the Chiefs. Packers beat the Chiefs 27-19 behind the performance of Jordan Love, 25 of 36, 267, 3 touchdowns. He was sharp last night, man, during the drive. A.J. Dillon, 18 carries, 73 yards. Romeo Dobbs, the Christian Watson.
Watson.
All these guys that they was giving hell last year to, and these guys seem to be growing up right before our eyes here, man. Hey, DA, what you got? 27-19.
Before the season started, they were predicted to win that conference because they have the best roster in that conference. That's the North, right? What NFC North, right? They were they were projected because they do have the best roster, in that conference. Everybody was just like, okay, we just got to see where Jordan Love is at. Like, where's his level of development? And, how's he doing as far as developing as a football player, getting getting the team on the right plays at the right time. It took a little time, beginning of the year, but this is his first year starting, and now he has it. He heard all the crap. He heard all the dudes talking crap about him and all the rest of that. And now he's doing what he needs to do. He's got his receipts, as they say. So, yeah, he's got his receipts because he's playing. He's playing, and he's not making mistakes. He may not be, totally winning the game like an Aaron Rodgers or a Brett Favre used to, but he sure enough is not losing them.
He's not losing the game.
Yeah, I think that's what matters most is that, he's not throwing the ball to the other team.
Right.
So, yeah, that kind of works to winning. That helps you win when you don't throw it to the other team. So I got no problem with him. And I don't think that we talked about this as well. Kansas City is not what they were because they lost a coordinator that was holding that whole thing together. So now when we see people saying on the news that, oh man, they're not in sync or they're not doing this or they don't have this right, there's something going on there.
Right.
It's not just dudes dropping passes. Right, because they're professional athletes. They're not supposed to drop passes. If they drop passes, you get rid of one and get another one in there. That's what happens. But no, there's something else going on there, and maybe it's not what everybody says it is, and it's and I think Andy Reid's a great coach, but he's getting older too. So maybe he's not being able to. Be as intricate with his offense as he needs to be at this point in time. So,
Hey man, you know what with Kansas City, man? What do you think is going on? Is anything you see anything different with Patrick Mahomes? 21 of 30, 210.
No, Patrick
touchdown.
He's doing what he does, but the football's an ecosystem, man. Like the offense has its own ecosystem, which means we're all pieces of something, and within that, there's something else going on in that offense that they all don't work together. So it is what it is.
Well, it's not Isaiah Pacheco's fault. I like this kid. 18 carries, 110 yards, and TD, man. He plays hard, man. When he's out there. Hey, Dan, you got anything on this game?
To me, it just seems like I know that the talk has been their offense has been just horrible in the second half of games for Kansas City. It's like you said, the coordinator, he left. And they're trying to, work with what they got. You got, the receivers that Mahomes has thrown to this year, aren't top, receivers in the league. And I think that kind of hinders them because you could see like it's Pacheco, Holmes, and Kelsey. And as they go, that team goes. And if they struggle in one or the other, Mahomes is struggling or Kelsey struggling or fumbling, Kansas City's going to, luckily their division is not that great and they should be able to handle that division pretty well. Cause I think they got a 2-game lead on Denver, 3 on the Chargers in Vegas. So they just got to get through, those last couple games and get into the playoffs
without getting hurt.
Yeah, but I think they'll get it right. Somebody's got to step up for them, and then, like you said, it's not really necessarily the drop passes. It's the play calling, getting in positions to where that they're not behind the chains and become predictable.
Yeah, and I think then I'll be quiet on this one is that everybody knew from a financial perspective, man. Right when they got rid of Tyreek and dudes knew like, okay, well. They are telling us where they're putting the money at. Right? So they're going to try to get any running back they can get cheaply because Pacheco will probably be out there paying Kelsey and Mahomes a crap load of money in the offensive line, and they gave Chris Jones all the money on the defensive side. So it's going to be hard, man, to field a team. So, that's all. It's going to be really hard to field a team when you got all the money allocated in 2 or 3 spots.
I just want to say shout out to our host and moderator, Kevin L. Warren. I know he's in Costa Rica. I think his internet's a little bit behind.
Slightly. Yeah.
A bit. Maybe in a half hour we'll get some NFL comments up there. But, I hope you're enjoying your vacation, bro.
We'll be gone by then. So
Yeah. No, without a doubt. Hey, man, yo, let me. Dan, what you got? Because the AFC, with the Chiefs losing, they go down to 8-4. The Baltimore plays, I believe. Baltimore plays? Who they play? Do they play tonight or was they off?
I think they're on
They had
a
a bye. So we got a bunch of teams. How did your Pittsburgh Steelers lose that game yesterday, 24-10 to at home to the Cardinals?
They didn't show up, man. They thought because they fired a coordinator, had one good game that they didn't have to try.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Kenny was on a bad wheel. He had his right leg
Yeah.
taped up pretty good.
Mitchell Trubisky came in.
Yeah, and it promptly ruined our streak of not turning the football over on the first snap. Thanks, man.
Baby tried.
Hey, all I know is what month is this?
This is December.
Who's coming in the 25th?
Oh, Christmas to get a lump of coal for Mitch Trubisky.
Santa's coming, right?
Santa.
Yeah.
Guess what, Mitch? Sit down. It's time for Rudolph to shine.
Ooh. Is he still on the team?
Didn't even know he was still there.
I thought
he's still there.
Man, I thought he's part-timing for another team.
Mason still, man.
He's ringing the bell over there at the Salvation Army box at Walmart.
Yeah, I think he was doing something other than playing, So
Wow.
No, but they just, I mean, Arizona is a better team now that they got Murray back. But at the same time, they just did not play well, and they let him. Connor, they held him in check for the most part. They let him get off a couple times, but they just I don't know, man. The 3 and outs that kill us all the time. It's like, just get a first down so we can punt the ball.
Well, like I said, right now, I mean, you guys are in. Well, you still right now. If the playoffs was to start today, Dolphins got. Yeah, you're in at 5, and Colts is 6. The Browns. So I mean, bar now again. This is week 13. We got a couple more weeks to go, and you guys 7-5. Texans are 7-5. Browns 7-5. Colts 7-5. Steelers are 7-5.
But now we play the Colts. Yeah, they're coming up on our schedule.
So you got
our next part of the season is going to determine whether we're in the playoffs or not. Because we got New England. That should be a win on Thursday.
That's a win.
Mm-hmm.
Then we play Indy.
Yeah,
in Indy. So we'll probably lose that, knowing them. And then we got Cincinnati.
You can beat them. They don't have a quarterback.
And then we have Seattle and Baltimore. Both away games.
So those are what, 4 games? The next 4 games you got?
All I know is our record against Baltimore has been really good the last 4 or 5 years, and we already got them once. It depends. It depends if we got if our quarterback's in. If Kenny's in, we should be all right. By that time,
I think y'all can get Seattle too.
But that's in Seattle.
Yeah, but they're hurt up though.
Yeah, Seattle's not. Yeah, they're not playing well. I mean, they played well against the Cowboys, but they should have probably won the game. But
yeah, we should get 3 of the 5. We should win.
Mm-hmm.
Should.
And
so Buffalo's out, huh?
Buffalo's 6-6. They got the 10. Right now they are number 10.
So they're out. They're not going to be in. They're not going to be in.
No, I think I just saw like the little. Let me click back to that page. They have the playoff thingy.
Playoff picture.
And basically, Miami, Baltimore, Jacksonville, and Kansas City are division winners.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. I think Miami might get the bye.
Yeah,
as of
right now.
As of right now, right.
And then the wild card, you got Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and then Indy. And Houston is
on the bubble.
And
Broncos was on the bubble.
And they got that's the thing is they got the tiebreaker against us head to head. So we have to stay ahead of Cleveland and Indianapolis. But I think Cleveland's going to drop out with their backup quarterback.
Yeah, and I think
situation.
I think the Texans will catch. At least will catch
Cleveland
or the Indianapolis Colts. So
let me say something about Cleveland because
good defense,
but you ain't winning nothing with no Joe Flacco. I could tell you that right now. Joe Flacco.
Hey, Cam's out there.
You guys tried, but
Cam's still out there. Kaepernick's still out there.
hey.
Well, you know what? We'll give him. I would say we give him a week to put in
a day's okay.
a plan.
Okay.
For next week, because next week it'll be a lot of Kareem Hunt. A lot of Kareem Hunt, a lot of running. Lots of running. You know.
Well, we keep saying it. I keep saying that. We keep saying that about them. They just refuse to run the ball.
They don't have a great offensive line.
Okay. Let me just ask this question.
Go ahead.
When did Flacco come off the couch?
I don't know.
Apparently yesterday.
Like, no. I mean, like, when did he join them? Like a week ago?
Yeah, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's about a week or so.
Why in the fuck is he thrown for 44 attempts?
Yeah, I don't know. Because they are a clusterfuck.
And you ran the ball at that 23 times.
Yeah, because they are a cluster, you know what. Again, that's why.
Yeah. So the next 5 games for Cleveland, they got Jacksonville next week, the Bears, Texans, Jets, Bengals.
Yeah, they might not make it.
Yeah, because that head-to-head against the Texans, that's going to be it. That's going to be the make or break. That's the day before Christmas, the 24th. So I mean, you know, they may not make it, man, because they got Jacksonville. They should be able to take care of the Bears, but the Bears been playing really good. So, I mean, they might just back on out, and
they got to figure out a way. They have to figure out a way to score.
Yeah.
That's
because the defense is there. We've been saying it all year.
Defense is there. They just got to figure out a way to score.
Yeah.
Now that may not happen, but
So that's pretty much it, man. With these teams, man. Texans got an excellent shot. Even though they're on the bubble, they have an excellent chance to win.
Yeah. They're playing hard.
I think they're better than the Colts and the Browns.
There's no way that Texans are not making it.
Yeah. As of right now, yes.
I'm looking right now. They play the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
They got them.
Then they play Tennessee.
That's a win. That's 2.
Then they play Cleveland.
Now Tennessee may be a harder game.
Then they play Tennessee again, and then they play the Colts.
I mean, they got the destinies in their own hands, man. They could.
That's at least 3 to 4 wins.
They could make or break themselves, man. They don't need no help. They could just take care of business. They take care of business. They in. That's how I see it.
So we know Baltimore. So golly gee. So we're talking about for real that Buffalo may not make it this year.
Well, hell no, they're 6-6.
6-6.
And Cincinnati's not going to make it. But dig, one team doesn't have a quarterback and one team does. There's got to be some changes made to Buffalo.
Well, here, let's have some fun with this. So, we're doing
without a doubt.
The probabilities that some of these teams get in. Here is the last 5 for Buffalo. Kansas City.
Lose that.
That's a loss.
Dallas.
That's an L.
Lose that.
Chargers.
They probably will lose that, but they can win. I'll give them.
They can win that. Let's win because the Chargers only scored 6 points yesterday. Never mind.
Yeah. And then they got New England.
They should win that.
And then last game's Miami.
They're gonna lose that because they beat them. But Miami's a different.
So they're gonna get maybe 2 wins out of that.
Well, that's hard.
They just refuse to run the fucking football.
Well, they got. Well, that's coaching. Coaching.
Yeah, you just killing Josh Allen and he's throwing it to the other team.
Don't
you refuse to run the ball.
Yeah, take that out of his hands. Like when you had a chance to get Dalvin Cook, and not to say that he dropped one on the ground yesterday for the Jets. So, not to say that he's killing it. But what I'm saying is that was probably kind of further down the free agent running back list. Mm-hmm. So you reached and you grabbed that dude, and you could have reached and grabbed that dude and you didn't do it. Like my thing is, man, the guys on the team can see like when you're not bringing in any help, and they know management is bullshitting. I'm like, y'all are bullshitting us. You don't want us to win. Mm-hmm. We need a guard. And you went out and got a kicker last year. Like, all these things people can see, man. So it's just weird to me when we give these owners, admin staffs, GMs, and coaches passes for not bringing in the people to help you win.
Right.
Well, the good news, if they were in the NFC South, they would be tied for the division lead.
Oh,
they would make the playoffs.
Yes, they would. Oh, yes, they would. In that trash can of a division. Yes.
Boy, I tell you.
What's pickup? What's trash pickup day? Sundays.
Yeah, and they're bad. They're bad, and they've got. And he's had a good season. So and he hasn't really made any progressive commercials this year either. You know what I mean? So old boy out there is quarterback, and he's playing good, not throwing the ball to the other team, staying within himself. I really don't have a problem with what he's doing. I just don't think that Tampa Bay even cares about winning anymore. It's like we got Super Bowl. Super Bowl gets you 10 years of love for the fan base. So you win one, you got 10 years to be shit. It doesn't matter. Only in college sports does not winning every year mean something. So you can't do that there. So yeah, they're fine. They're fine. They're just fine out there. So.
Well, yo, this has been a real one. Hey, we're gonna get on out of here, man. But we appreciate everybody joining us on all major podcast platforms. Hey, we'll be back on Thursday for the Sports Chasers podcast.
For sure.
Hey, yo, y'all guys enjoy your Monday morning. Enjoy your week. Hey, we'll catch y'all next time.
Stop it.